Click the link in the description for your free Amsoil catalog. Before we get started, I'd like to give a quick shout out to some of our friends. The Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. Search for them on Facebook. Central Minnesota Pond Racing. Search for them on Facebook. The historic Lancaster Motel for the ultimate Eastern trail riding adventure. Crane's Snowmobile Museum at 172 Main Street in Lancaster, New Hampshire. The Vintage Snowmobile Club of America Quarterly Magazine. The New Hampshire Snowmobile Museum at Bear Brook State Park in Allenstown, New Hampshire. And lastly, if you decide to advertise with the Vintage Snowmobile Podcast, this could be your advertising message. Well, good evening and welcome to the podcast. I'm really glad you're here. I have a robust lineup of vintage snowmobile entertainment on tap for you tonight, including our live guest, Valdi Stefanson. If you're a regular viewer of this podcast, you've seen him on here before. He always has some really fun and interesting stuff for us to look at. But before we get into all of that, I want to make sure that everything is working properly. So if you can see my face and hear my voice, I'm going to ask you to leave a comment. Please let me know where you're viewing this from and whether you are a first-time viewer or a regular viewer. Now, to our first-time viewers, if this is your first time watching us tonight, I hope you have some fun with us tonight and decide to join us here each and every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, this podcast simulcasts to 8 different places across Facebook and YouTube. So wherever you're viewing this, just circle back in 1 week's time, and we'll be here waiting for you with another episode. Now, to our regular viewers who are here week after week, month after month, and season after season, you guys are the ones who make this possible, and we very, very much appreciate that. I'm going to take a couple of quick comments, and then we'll bring our friends on. Let's get the party started here. Our good friend Reese Fleury, loud and clear from Tupper Lake, New York, regular viewer and very good friend of ours. Also, Kevin Culhane, loud and clear from Sudbury, I believe Sudbury, Ontario, regular viewer. He's a very regular viewer. Also, our good friend Mike Whiteside says loud and clear over there in Illinois. And then one more comment here, and we'll bring some friends on. Thetford Center, Vermont, our good friend Jim Holbrook says, sounds good. Thank you for being on, Jim. We very much appreciate that. Well, let's bring our friends on here and get the party started. There we go. Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
Great to be with everybody. I especially appreciate those regular viewers, and it's like a sit down around the table kind of a get together.
It is. It's like a weekly gathering of friends. It's wonderful, for sure. And
Happy
Rob, how are you
Halloween,
doing?
everybody.
There we go, digging into the Halloween candy.
I still got lots of candy left.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, cool. So, yeah, Valdi's in the house tonight, and we've got a theme. Normally, we look at sleds from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, but we're going to move the calendar forward a little bit and talk about the triples, the triples from the 90s. And before we start looking at clips, Valdi, do you want to set up a little bit the theme of the night and what we're going to be looking at?
Oh, sure. I've been in this hobby for decades. And when I entered, antique snowmobiles were being collected. Vintage snowmobiles were just starting to get collected. And here we are in 2023, and the average entrant into the hobby is not interested in any of those other categories, not 60s, not 70s. And we want to embrace this new audience. And so the videos you're going to look at tonight reflect what is the marketplace in our hobby as it's coming forward. The average person who's entering the hobby has kids who are no longer demanding their time, so they have time to think back on that snowmobile they wish they had, or their neighbor had, or they wanted to have. And those are in the 90s, to be honest with you. Yeah. Our theme at the Midwest Ride-In last year was 90s machines, and this year it's 80s machines. We think that is a progression in time that will not stop. So we darn well better get on the beam and respect those. There's nothing different about the motivation. It's just different years.
Sure, and it is a sliding scale. It's kind of following us into the future, so to speak. For sure, for sure. Well, let's take a look at the menu here. The first item is going to be a 1993 Arctic Thundercat. And while I'm pulling that clip up, if you want to set that up with just a couple of comments here.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. In about 10 years ago, I went on a hunt. I thought, hey, Valdi, it's about time you got ahead of the price curve. So I searched. I did a lot of marketing. This Arctic Cat, I can't remember where it came from, but all over the place. I put the word out and networked enough to get what I thought were the best original, equipped machines. And let's start with this Arctic Cat, a first year. These are all first year triples. They're 1992 or 1993.
Yeah, excellent. Well, let's take a look.
Welcome, classic snowmobilers. This again is another example of a classic snowmobile rather than vintage or antique. And today I'm wearing an Arctic Cat jacket because we'll be talking about an Arctic Cat. Now the year 1993, the model Thundercat. What a great marketing ploy to call this beast a Thundercat. Now this goes back to the days when the horsepower wars were just beginning, okay? Yamaha had come up with a 4-cylinder go-fast in 1992. In 1993, Skidoo, Polaris, and this was the entry for the Arctic Cat. Now, Thundercat was a great name. Quite frankly, they wanted to put an exclamation point on this lake racer genre, this muscle sled, this triple era. The president of Arctic Cat at the time said, look, you either lead, you follow, or get out of our way. So they were confident that this guy was gonna make an impact. It brought their best technology and latest innovations to the proverbial horsepower race. Beautiful machine. Now, as fit the trend, there's tones of orange and a little bit of purple. So this was a departure in terms of the coloration, but it fit the fashion of the day. So let's open the hood here and look at what Arctic Cat did. See the displacement? 1, 2, 3 cylinders, but this says 900 cc's at a time when the others coming to the game either had 750 or 800 cc displacement. So Arctic Cat was going to make a bold statement with this machine. 3 cylinders and 3 pipes here. There are 3 38 millimeter Mikuni carburetors on this thing, and quite frankly, there was a lot of people in the aftermarket who were just dying to see this because they knew it had greater potential. In the next years, there was a lot of hop-up kits, etc. Now, that's not the purpose for this snowmobile or this machine. I wanted to represent an original machine here that kind of, as factory delivered. I'm very close here in this regard to a correct and original machine here. Here we go. Let's take a look at the dashboard here. Big gauges here. This one is showing 1,150 miles. And so it hasn't been ridden that much. It's not perfect by any means, but it's a beautiful, I think, example of a period correct piece. So Arctic Cat came to the table. They trumped everybody with this big 900cc motor, and they're highly collectible. And quite frankly, I'm proud to have it in the stable. So that's a little bit about this Thundercat here. There are some changes that I've made. Come on around to the front here. This thing is kind of dressed up. See these grills? You could buy them in this orange color. So I decided to go that route. If you look at here, down at the skid, you'll see again orange Hyfax. So that's the program here, and I just wanted to introduce you a bit to this thing, and have you take a peek. Hope you learned something.
Yeah, gotta love those drive-bys. Yeah, thank you so much, Valdi, for that awesome footage. And before we comment on this, it says here, visit my YouTube channel. There are links to Valdi's YouTube channel in the description. If you like what you just saw there, he's got tons more videos on his YouTube channel. There's links in the description. Please check it out. Now, Rob, any reactions to what we've been looking at here? Comments, questions?
I like it when people use their machines, when they're not just sitting on a shelf display. But what a fun machine that is, eh? A number of my friends had them, and they were so much fun to drive. Unbelievable amount of torque. Yes, Arctic Cat got to be proud with that machine.
Oh, for sure. And also to our viewers, any comments, questions, thoughts, this is the time to post them. And we do have some things coming in. Let's see what we've got here. Where's my place? Okay, here we go. So Marty Lesnick from Missouri says, 4th time viewing. He said he needs some oil, but he can't figure out how to get credit and have some used AMSOIL, and he's used AMSOIL for 10 years. Yeah, Marty, if you send me a private email, we'll help you get set up with AMSOIL. And we're going to be talking about AMSOIL in a minute here. Let me find my email address. I'm going to pop it on the screen. If you're able to write down that email address after the podcast, send me an email, and whatever questions or issues you're having, we'll help you get to the bottom of that and get you fixed up with some AMSOIL. And let me get back into, okay. Oh, and then also our good friend Josh Leverker, who's going to be on here in the near future, from Turin, New York. He's in the house. Our good friend Jim McCrae is saying great. And then our friend Mike Whiteside is saying she definitely was a triple threat. Big vroom. Nice. Very cool. And then also our good friend Reese Fleury says shredding like a kid. Absolutely. It is almost a fountain of youth to be riding these, isn't it?
Yeah, that giggle came just just naturally, I'm telling you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, cool. Yeah. So
I have a cabin up in a lake, and I'm only 7 miles. But after I go about 20 miles through the woods, I get onto a bigger lake that's like 40 miles long, and 90% of the machines back in those days on that lake were all Arctic Cats. It was a big lake, and everybody had a cat.
Yeah, stretch its legs out on that lake for sure.
Yes.
Very nice. Very nice.
Performance people, they like that motor.
Yes. Now, Valdi, before we switch gears and move on, any final thoughts about this cat before we move on? Or?
Well, I'll speak generically. It was not easy for me to find original configurations. You understand that if you bought one of these muscle machines in 1992, 93, you read magazines that said, throw out those exhausts, throw out the muffler, buy our clutch kit. It was very easy to save weight and increase the horsepower. So like I said, it was difficult to find them with the original pipes, to use one example. So if you find one that doesn't have the correct exhaust, don't feel bad. That was just, like I said, it was period correct to change them out.
Sure, a lot of those parts just were thrown away. For sure. Well, cool. Let's take a look at the menu here. We're on item number 3. It's time for some announcements. Rob is going to talk to us about AMSOIL, and then once he's finished, I've got a little surprise that we're going to take a look at. But yeah, if you're ready, Rob, I'm going to put you full screen, and we'll get out of your way for a minute.
Okay. Mike keeps talking about getting the AMSOIL magazine. It's a catalog, and it has all the products inside, and it has the prices listed, how much the retail is and how much the preferred. And just for instance, the Interceptor, if you get it in a quart-sized bottle, that's what most of the people are running in their newer machines now. It sells for like $13.95 plus tax in the States. As a preferred, you get it for $9. If you get 4 of these jugs in a case, it retails for $205.55. As a preferred, you get it for $145. That's over $50 a case you save. It costs you $10 to become a preferred account. You buy directly from AMSOIL, and every time you buy something from AMSOIL, they always send you a gift. So if you buy 4 of them in a box, you get the best possible discount on the AMSOIL product, and they ship it right to your house free. There's no better way to get the AMSOIL than have it shipped right to your house.
For sure. Oh, and then I'll put the graphic up for the promotion they've got going right now.
Yeah.
If you wanted to talk that up.
You buy $75 worth of product. You might as well buy 100 because that way you get the free shipping. So they're going to give you 3 rags in the AMSOIL funnel to help pour the stuff in. Because I know on my Arctic Cat, right beside my oil reservoir is my disc brakes. And my daughter likes to overfill it and get it on the disc brakes. And she comes back and says, Dad, there's no brakes on this machine. And I know what she did as soon as I lift the hood. I got to wipe all the oil off the disc brakes. I don't know why Cat did that, put the reservoir right beside the disc brake. But everything needs to be improved a little.
Sure, these things do happen.
Yep.
And then final thought too, for anyone who, if someone is ready to do an AMSOIL order right now, the best way to do it and take care of that, take advantage of that preferred pricing is click the link in the description. There's a link in there for the preferred customer program. Click on that. It's just a couple of clicks once you're on the website to join the preferred customer program, and then start shopping from there. And because you're a member of the preferred customer program, everything will come up at the deepest level of discount. And once you hit that $100 mark, now you're eligible for free shipping, and you're eligible for the free gift that we were talking about right here.
Yeah, and also on there, you can click on there and get this free catalog.
Yes, link in the description for
every product we have available. And you don't have to order a full case. You could order 2 bottles of small engine, 4 bottles of car oil, and 2 bottles of injector oil.
Yeah, so you can mix and match. And
which is a big seller this time of year, is chain case oil.
Yes, in fact, I just topped mine off with some of that. Good stuff. Well, cool. We've got a comment that's come in. We're going to take that, and then I've got a little surprise we're going to do. Oh, here we go. My good friend John Spranger Jr. says, we got snow. They got 3.5 inches. They got it Tuesday in Eland, Wisconsin. He took his new sled out and spiked up the lawn. He may have to overseed it in places in the spring. That is the spirit. That is the spirit. And also, yeah, John Spranger is a good friend of mine. I've got a picture of he and I last Christmas. We went out to dinner, him and his wife and I, and we had a wonderful visit, had a great time. Yeah, that's my good buddy, John Spranger, and his twin brother, James, frequently watches the podcast as well. So if James is out there, how you doing, James? But and then I had a little surprise to take care of. Regular viewers to this podcast are very familiar with our good friend Dave at Alaska Railroad. He watches just about every week, both this podcast and the Muscle Car podcast. Messaging with him earlier today, and as it turns out, today is his father's 79th birthday. So on behalf of all of your friends here at the Vintage Snowmobile Podcast, happy birthday to your father. Happy 79th birthday. That's his father standing right there. It looks like he's still riding. So happy birthday.
That's nice if he's still riding.
For sure.
That keeps you young.
It sure does. And I'm going to remove this graphic, and it's an opportunity for us to each give him a thumbs up on his birthday.
Happy birthday.
It's hard to line it up with the camera, but yeah. Cool deal. So happy birthday to Dan Hill. Oh, and we've got some more comments coming in. Here we go. So here we go. And he's watching here. David from Alaska Rero says, good evening, guys. So I'm glad he was able to see that. Happy birthday to his father. Oh, and we've got viewers chiming in as well. This is wonderful. Mike Whiteside says happy birthday. And so does our good friend Reese Fleury. And I have to say, I love the immediacy of this with a live podcast that people, we can share information and ideas and greetings and all of this. So here we go. David says, thank you to everyone for the birthday greetings. And then also our regular viewers and good friends, Stacy and Art Fosler, are in the house. They're saying hello as well. And hello back to them. Very cool. Very cool. So where were we here? Let's get the menu up and see where we are. So now we're on item number 4. We're going to take a look at a 1993 Polaris Storm. And if you're just joining us, we've got Valdi Stefanson as our guest tonight. He does the YouTube channel called Valdi's Old Snowmobile Information Factory. There are links to it in the description. So if you're enjoying these video clips, there's a whole lot more of that in the description. Click those links. It'll take you to his YouTube channel, and there's a lot of really good content there. Now, Valdi, before we take a look at that clip of that Polaris, do you want to set that up? Let us know what we're about to look at.
Sure. The Polaris actually came from Sudbury, Ontario, of all places. But I was talking to some fellows, and they said, we've seen a sled. We visited this seller, let's just say that. And he's not a Polaris guy, but everybody gravitated towards that particular machine. There was just something about its look. It was just so pristine, and its coloration, that actually other people had suggested that I buy this thing. And boy, I sure didn't regret it. You just wait till you see.
Yes, let's take a look.
Well, look what I got here today. Welcome, classic snowmobile fans. Now, classic, what do I mean by that? Classic is an era of snowmobile collecting that starts about 1986. It depends who you're talking to, and ends about the millennial year of 2000. It represents more modern machines than vintage or antique, certainly. And I wanted to showcase a classic machine today. I'm wearing my Polaris jacket because we're looking at a Polaris. In fact, this is a 1993 Polaris Storm. 1993. Now, this was an important era in the snowmobile history books because it starts the muscle sled era. Muscle sled era spanned 92. By the end of the decade, they were petering out. By then, Polaris, had gone to different motors, Liberty motor, to use one example, in a case in point. The muscle sled era, I officially think, started in 92. Yamaha came up with a machine called a V-Max 4. 4 cylinders, 4 pipes. And let me tell you, that thing was a screamer. And Polaris, Arcticat, and Skidoo says, whoop, let's get going. And we got to produce a multi-cylinder, multi-pipe machine. Now, the other 3, including this Polaris Storm, ended up with 3 cylinders and 3 pipes. So these machines were not made for family outings, quite frankly. This kind of class, this muscle class era, was for the go-fast guys. These, a lot of people just call them lake racers. You know, you start at one end of the lake, you pin it, and you try to get to the end of the lake before your buddies did. So this was built for absolute, speed. And I wanted to share that with you here today. Let's open the hood, and I'll show you a little bit about this motor that I'm bragging about. Isn't this beautiful? Now, 1, 2, 3 cylinders. This is a 744cc case reed motor, their first case reed for Polaris. And not only that, but the engineers were told that within this infrastructure here, fitting it under the hood here, we want you to also put in 3 pipes. I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's beautiful. Notice how the pipes first sweep to the left, then they have to swing around, and then ultimately dump into the stock muffler. Now, I emphasize the word stock because when you're looking for a classic class machine, especially in the lake racer genre, it's often difficult to find the original exhaust and can and muffler, because the magazines of the day had a lot of aftermarket companies who were touting their products. Their products was a pipe that had, more horsepower. They were generating more horsepower. And a little tiny muffler, kind of a noisy one back then in that era. And so that you would get more horsepower, torque, and lower weight. So a lot of the machines that you're going to find for sale in this classic class era muscle sled, be careful. See if it's got the original exhaust or an aftermarket attempt. So I think I've got a beautiful example here. The person that owned this machine was meticulous. He was fastidious when it came to caring for this thing. When I saw pictures of this from a guy from Ontario who sent it to me, I says, I'll buy that. I'm just proud of that decision, because this thing is about as clean as they get. And so let's close the hood here. Another point. This thing isn't exactly brand new. Look at this, 2,250 miles on the odometer. So this thing has been, certainly ridden quite a bit, but still, it looks brand new. If you take a look at the condition of this thing. Now, excuse me. When it comes to collecting these snowmobiles in the classic era, there's a category called Survivor. A Survivor machine has had no alterations. I cannot say that this is a Survivor. I could see 2 things that were different than what was factory equipped. Number 1, the blue ski skins. These, when ski skins became very popular, less drag, easier to take off. The skis don't stick to the ground. So the blue ski skins are one case in point where it's different. The other is a lot of picks in the track. There's a lot of studs in the track. Now, why would a muscle sled need studs? For some get up and go. And so here you can see it back here. When I say a pick, I mean a stud like this that extended beyond the nub of a thing. So if you were on a hard surface, you got some get up and go. And not only that, I like studs because you slow down. When you brake, of course, at a corner or some kind of panic situation, it slows down. So sleds of the era, especially performance sleds, were all studded up. So, like I said, I just wanted to introduce you to this little beauty and speak to the genre of lake racers and show you this lovely example. Now, notice the color. A lot of people today say, "You're kidding. Pink on a snowmobile? What are they thinking of? Look, the piping is pink. The seed, logo is pink. Everything's pink here." And the truth is that, it's fashion. I guess pink was in the early 1990s. So this thing came along with some period tones, and certainly color is one of them. All right, I hope you've learned a little bit here in terms of the Polaris Storm. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, so very cool. If you like what you just saw there, be sure and visit Valdi's YouTube channel. There are links to it in the description. He has an excellent channel. There's a whole lot more of what we just looked at on there. Rob, any reactions to what we've just been viewing here?
Where was the ride? I was waiting for the ride. I wanted to see it go through that snowbank.
Yeah, you're right.
I like it when you got the snowmobile suit to match it.
Yes, that's a nice touch.
Yes. Yeah. Two of my friends had those, and one time we stopped at a place for gas. Before we left the gas station, he wanted to look at the map, see how far the next gas station was. He was only good for 50 miles on a tank of gas. They were hard on gas, those things. But they were fun.
And I'm sure he was in the throttle the whole time.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And the thing I noticed, too, is that it's true. The early 90s, some of the sleds had pink on them. My yard rider that I've got here at the house is just a 92 Ski-Doo Safari, but it had some pink pinstriping. And I don't know, I guess I'm not man enough for pink or something, but I masked it all off and sprayed it with Ski-Doo yellow. And I don't know, that pink, I wasn't feeling it. But that was the early 90s, those neon colors and everything. Yeah. And we've got comments coming in. Comments aplenty. Let's take a look here. Oh, yes, here we go. Mike Whiteside said, I would sure like to take a virtual tour of Valdi's shop. And maybe someday Valdi will have us in there with his cell phone for a tour so we can take a look at his sleds. I know he's got a voluminous collection in there. That's something you'll be up for at some point, Valdi?
I say yes to that.
Wonderful.
Next time we'll do that.
Yes.
Thanks, guys, for thinking of it.
Yes. And then let's see, Kevin Miller says, me too. Absolutely. And then David from Alaska Railroad says, I remember riding one of those at my dealer. He said, what a rocket ship. He's got a question. He says, Valdi, do you own an 800 XCR? I'm going to own one someday.
Well, I'll say that's on my bucket list. It's coming.
Yes. No doubt. No doubt. And then let's see, Marty Lesnick says, months ago, I copied down Mike's referral number, but couldn't figure out where to use it so that I get credit for the sale. My email is martylesnick@gmail.com. Thank you for that, Marty. I'm going to email you later tonight. I'm going to make a note of that and get that back to you and get back to you on that so we can make sure that you get fixed up with Amsoil. And I appreciate that you were considering using my dealer number. I very much appreciate that. That helps to support the podcast. So thank you for supporting the podcast. Also, we were talking about John Spranger Jr. earlier. This is his twin brother, James. Says, hi, Mike, Valdi, and Rob. He's a regular viewer from Wausau, Wisconsin. Great to see you, James. Glad to have you in the house. And then let's see. Oh, we've got a question from David at Alaska Railroad. He says, Valdi, my heart sank when I watched your video when your roof fell in. As a vintage sled guy, I felt your pain. For sure. For sure. And then let's see. Tommy Svobodny. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He says, I have a perfect 98 700 XCR with 1,032 miles on it for $2,500. So if anyone out there is curious about this, search for Tommy. He's on, on Facebook? Is he doing this on Facebook or YouTube? Let me see if it tells. Yeah, he's on Facebook. So check out the spelling of his name there. Do a search for him on Facebook and be in touch with him if you're curious about that 98 700 XCR.
You can
And
advertise on your website.
yes, in fact, I've got our sister group, Wheels, Keels, and Snowmobiles. You can post it in there. Also, anything related to vintage snowmobiles, you're more than welcome to post in the comments during this podcast, and I'll do a shout out on it, just like we did here for Tommy. We do welcome and encourage that thing. All we ask is that you keep it related to vintage snowmobiles. It doesn't only have to be sleds. You can, if you've got clothing or accessories or any of that, but as long as it's related to vintage snowmobiles. Well, cool. Let's switch gears here. And any final thoughts, Valdi, on this Polaris before we switch gears?
Well, just in general, that this hobby is one of relationships. That is to say, keep talking, ask the question. I've got a little black book that has a list of my friends and what machines that they would like to have. And it's such a pleasure. Sometimes I actually call them and say, you talked about this years ago. I happen to know a guy, or I saw it, and etc. Another tip would be to go to Facebook and then just type the name of the snowmobile or vintage. I belong to 45 different vintage snowmobile brand specific groups.
Nice.
And boy, let me tell you, if your genre is those XCR, to use one example, there's a group for that. And you're gonna be talking and visiting with people who are experts, who have been collecting these things, and it can lead to some good results.
Nice. And even if you have an XCR and you have a really nuanced question, you can search for that in there. Maybe post your question in there, and someone will have an answer for you, most likely. And feel free to post those types of questions here in the comment section, and there may be someone viewing that would have an answer for you. In fact, I've got another question or comment that's popped in. Dave Laurie says, hello from Alberta, Canada. Outstanding. Yeah. Thank you for coming in, Dave. We appreciate that. Good deal. Good deal. So we are on item number 5. We're going to take a look at a 1993 Ski-Doo Mach Z. Before we do, though, I'm going to tease you a little bit with an image that Rob shared with me. Rob, did you want to talk this up while it's on the screen?
Well, I met that gentleman back in 1980 when he raced Can-Am cars. He was racing in our local town at Mosport Racetrack for Amsoil.
Wow.
And then he became an IndyCar racer. And when we used to go to Valcourt, Quebec, him, his dad, and his uncle were the spokesperson for Ski-Doo at the Valcourt, Quebec race.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So you had a chance to spend some time with him and hang out and everything?
Yes.
Very nice. Very nice. Oh, and one last thing. We've got more comments coming in. Let's see. Reese Fleury says, check out my group, Vintage Snowmobiles for Sale or Wanted. Yep. Absolutely. Search for that on Facebook.
Tell Reese, I'm going to be February 8th, 9th, 10th at Valcourt, Quebec. Come on up. You're probably only 4 or 5 hours from there, Reese. Come on up. We're going to go to the Vintage Museum. We're going to go through the factory, see how Ski-Doos are made. Well, they're making Sea-Doos at that time, but we're still going to have a tour of the factory. And the vintage races are on.
Yeah, be sure to look for Rob over there if you go up there, Reese. Oh, and then I like this name, Jack Hammer. I don't know if that's a real name, but that's a clever name for sure. It says, can't beat those older muscle sleds for sound and looks. The best days in the snowmobiling world, in his opinion. Absolutely. Those were good days for sure. All right. So without further ado, let me get where I need to be here. We're going to take a look at that Ski-Doo. Here it is. Stand back, everyone.
Hi, another example of a classic class snowmobile. This is my Skidoo jacket, and we're talking about a 1993 Mach Z. Now, this was the entry for the muscle class sled category. Three cylinders and 3 pipes. By then, of course, Yamaha in 92 had come up with their racer, and this was the year that the other 3, including Skidoo, came to the table. And I wanted to introduce you to this Mach Z. Now, this thing sits on what they call an F2000 chassis, really was has beefier springs, of course, because there's a bigger motor in here. But it has a trailing arm front suspension. It's called DSA. I think that stands for direct shock action. How's that for a flowery word? Anyway, this machine was long awaited. Remember, others were coming to the table, and the Skidoo faithful, boy, they wanted to get into this game too and represent their brand. And as a result, these were a spring order only. You didn't find this at the dealer showroom that year. They built 600 total, and they were sold through a kind of a snow check, a spring snow check affair. And so let's take a look at the internals. I'm going to open up this hood, and we can take a peek at what we're looking at here. Again, 1, 2, 3 cylinders and 3 pipes. This is all, stock, if you will, configuration. And that's the case. The engine itself, 744 cc's. It is case reed injected, and it is the first example of a Skidoo with these rave valves, a variable exhaust. I think Skidoo might very well have been the very first to come to the table with that. Conspicuously, no rotary valve. The Skidoo Corporation had sort of weaned itself away from the rotary valve that served them just so very well in the 80s, to use an example. So this was their new entry. It had a lot of innovation, that type of thing, and a first-year effort. Again, 600 were built in 1993. I have gone to shows and talked to people about this particular model, and they say, hey, there's something unusual about this. Not unusual, but the hood itself is fiberglass. This is fiberglass. The following year and the subsequent years, of course, they went to plastic. So that'll distinguish. If you're in the market for one of these and you're looking and saying, what year is it? Again, look at that hood. Is it fiberglass or is it plastic? Fiberglass 93 and plastic thereafter. And so I'm very proud to have this. Another feature about this sled that I noticed was that the skis, although they're steel, have plastic rudders. That is to say, this part here is plastic. Okay? Now, this part here is steel. And so they were seeing, to use an example for the Yamaha, how plastic ski bottoms, made a difference. So they followed suit with kind of a hybrid. That's not a ski skin that's an add-on. It quite frankly is assembled at the factory. This one, of course, is studded up like so many of the other lake racers, muscle sleds of the era. I especially like the instrumentation. Come on over and we'll take a peek at this. The gauge setup looks very nice, and I just like that. And it's kind of tucked away there. There might be a little snow buildup, excuse me, but that's a handsome looking dashboard. And so that kind of summarizes what Skidoo was up to. Do you know that Skidoo, quite frankly, they were losing market share in the 80s. Think of Yamaha in their Phaser Exciter era. Think Polaris and their Indy series. So Skidoo actually hired outside people to come in and kind of, they were told to kind of get us back in this game. We started out in snowmobile manufacture. We've drifted off into train cars and planes and military contracts. Let's get back to our core biz, or our original business anyway, which was the snowmobiles. And so this is a pioneering effort in many aspects. And after driving this thing around, let me tell you, it's a rocket. I find very quick action, and this thing truly comes to life. So I wanted to show you a first year triple the 1993 Mach Z Skidoo. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, so thank you so much to Valdi for this footage. If you like what you're viewing, he has a YouTube channel. There are links to it in the description. If you like what you just saw, there's plenty more at that YouTube channel. And we actually lost Valdi. Hopefully he'll reconnect here in just a moment. But while we're waiting for that, Rob, any reactions to that Mach Z?
Oh, they're great machines. One time I was in Northern Ontario with 4 other guys, and we're going from a place called Smooth Rock to Kapuskasing. Kapuskasing is as far as you can go by roads. So we're going by snowmobile up there to have breakfast, and a guy with one of these Machs passed me with a caboose on behind. Now, my 2 friends, I'm driving a 670 Skidoo, and my 3 friends were all driving 600s. So I know they weren't coming up behind me. The trails are 12 feet wide up there. They're bank corners, and I'm doing close to 100 miles an hour, just cruising down the trail, really relaxed. And this guy scared me with the pipes going by me, eh? So 40 minutes later, we drove up. The McDonald's there has snow for the drive-through. So we're driving through the McDonald's with our snowmobile, and I seen the guy parked there. So we went and parked beside him, talked to him. I said, "Man, you scared me when you went by." He said, "Well, the highways have potholes. The snowmobile trails are groomed every night. It's smoother to take the kids to school on the snowmobile trails." And his caboose was all heated with radio in the back for the kids and everything. But, whoa, fast machine. And when it came beside me, the noise of that thing scared me when it went by.
That's a great story. That's an excellent story, especially 100 mile an hour with the caboose in the back. That's something else.
The trails are so smooth up there and so good. It gets boring. You're at that speed for hours at a time.
You can really hold that speed.
Oh yeah, and the corners are all banked and everything. They're 12 feet wide, the trails.
That's amazing. Yeah, Valdi, I know you were having some trouble there for a minute with your connectivity, but yeah, Rob was just telling us about he was going very fast down a trail and someone passed him with one of these triples, and they had a caboose towed behind it.
That's a heck of a story.
The pipe scared me when it went by me because they were so loud the thing was. I was driving a 670 Skidoo. It was pretty good at that time for performance, but not compared to those things.
Yeah, for sure. And then you caught it, and then to fill Valdi in on the rest of the story, you caught up with him a little later in the McDonald's.
The McDonald's had snow on the drive-through. So we went through the drive-through and we pulled over, and there he was sitting there parked. So we went and chatted with him. He says, "The highway has potholes." He says, "The snowmobile trail's groomed every night. It's smoother taking the kids to school by snowmobile trail than it is by car."
That's amazing.
Good old days.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. So here we go. We've got a comment coming in. UK to many. It says the rarest Mach Z is the last year, the 2003. Only 234 of them were built. Is that the year they had 1,000 cc's? Does anyone know? Because I know in the early 2000s, just for a year or two, they had a 1,000 cc Mach Z, and I don't remember which year exactly, but yeah, that's good information. I thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So let me get myself situated here. We've got one more clip to look at. And while I'm pulling that up, Valdi, any final thoughts about the Ski-Doo, the Mach?
Yeah, I will say that it was the hardest to collect. Again, to find one with the original pipe and can was not easy. And as it turned out, that particular one was a grass dragger from Michigan. It said Michigan Grass Drag Association in the stock class, and he had to keep those original pipes. That was the last to be sourced, and for that reason alone.
Did you have a new suit on that time? You didn't mention that.
Yeah.
Did you?
Hey, listen, one other thing. I wanted to do a shout out to that Dave Lowry. He's from Alberta, and I'm going to suggest that I might have met him. There's a show in Alberta in late November in Vermilion, Alberta. And last year I was there, visited with just a ton of great Canadian sled heads. So, Dave, if I visited with you last year and forgot your name, I apologize. Otherwise, I will not make it this year. You say hello to all those Canucks for me.
There we go. Nice. Oh, and a final thought as far as that Mach Z that they were commenting on a minute ago, that 2003 was an 800 cc. So it might have been the year 2000. I don't know, but for a couple of years there, they did have they had a 1000 cc.
They did.
But and I think it was black.
Mm-hmm.
But next, we're going to take a look at a VMAX, a 1992 VMAX 4-cylinder. Any quick comment on this, Valdi, before we take a look?
It was a very successful YouTube. I'm managing this channel, and the number of hits on this particular video eclipsed all the other three combined. To be honest with you, so I don't know what attracted this audience, but it was shared an awful lot. It's a beautiful machine, and it was fun to drive.
I'll bet it was. Well, let's take a look.
Well, snowmobile fans, we're in the Yamaha jacket today, and we'll be talking about a Yamaha, a 1992. Now, this would be classified as a classic snowmobile. Classic snowmobiles are more modern. They are newer than the vintage era. Classic snowmobiles run from about 1986 through about the millennial year of 2000. And I'm so proud to have this thing because it is credited at starting an era. Now, this is a 1992 Yamaha, and until then, in the late 80s, Yamaha was making, family-oriented machines. They were sort of getting some static that they didn't have a muscle sled. Well, this was their answer, and it put an exclamation point on the topic. Indeed, it started what we call the muscle class era. All right, full of technology and interesting, design issues. Let's talk about that. What is special about this particular VMAX 4 in its inaugural year? Well, let's take a look at the skis. That is to say that they put a lightweight ski on here, and not only that, but this is the very first production sled that had ski skins. Ski skins. Now, that was factory. That was actually factory. Now, another thing to notice, of course, is the pink coloration. I don't know what was the deal in the early 90s, but pink was the hot color, and Yamaha was not the only manufacturer to employ that. Now, let's take a look at the business end of this bad boy. This is the first machine that had a digital CDI. And look at that. What do we see here? 1, 2, 3, and 4 cylinders. A 4-cylinder motor. Quite frankly, not seen since what, 1971. The Arctic Cat Thundercat, you know, had one variant that had a Kawasaki 4-cylinder engine. Okay. And then fast forward to 1992, Yamaha put this 4-cylinder 2-stroke in play. In fact, it didn't appear again, at least not in the Yamaha line, in fact, any line, until 2003. Now, that was the RX-1, you know, the 4-stroke engine back in 2003, excuse me. So let's take a look at this engine. It looks like there's 2 twin cylinders kind of made it together, but it's very unique in several respects. And first and foremost is that there's no clutch at the end of the crankshaft. Now, why? Because Arctic Cat learned that back in '71. You can't have a huge long motor like that and spin a primary clutch because there's so much, you know, torsional stress on the crank. It's almost impossible to keep the crank. So here's what Yamaha did, and you can't see it, was that they put a gear drive in front of the motor. It's all hidden by this shroud and stuff here, but there is a jack shaft that goes in front of the motor. That clutch there is not hooked up to the motor, but rather a secondary jack shaft. In fact, that gearbox is reduced. You know, the speed is reduced 95%. In other words, the motor is running faster than the crankshaft is running faster than that jack shaft. All right, and that allowed them to make this go-fast motor here that delivered the goods here. This thing dynoed out at about 134 horsepower. This is a 743 cc, I believe. It's a 750 class machine. So it's a great performer. Now, let's take a look at the front end here. Now, this is not the stock pipe. This says PSI. When I purchased this machine, it had this aftermarket setup with 2 pipes and an aftermarket can. Fortunately, the fellow kept the original pipes, so I guess I got them in a box if I ever want to go back to stock. The other innovation on this motor is its use of Mikuni TM carburetors on a rack. Now look at me, I'm going to press this throttle. Look at this. And look at the effect here. In other words, see that shaft that's moving back and forth? That's all you're moving. Instead of pulling in the old days all these cables to an individual carburetor, this goes to what they call a rack setup. And it's lovely, efficient, and it's a very, very light pull. You know, this set the tone for the other manufacturers going forward. So rack, slide, you know, carburetors. So all of this technology came out in one swoop here, and you know, I just had to have that first year. Now let's take a look at this machine in other respects. Is this a survivor? Is this correct? Well, no. I've already told you the pipes were changed out. There's studs on the track. The previous owner also ceramic coated the skis. Look at how shiny they are. And I asked him why, and he said, well, I just don't like rust. You know how it is. You come in, there's snow in the skis, it melts, you get, you know, rusty skis. So he took the liberty of plating, ceramic coating those skis, and I thought, wow, that looks good. I'm keeping it. So not exactly, you know, a survivor, but an original example of a first-year Yamaha. So I hope that you've learned something today about Yamaha. In '92 they came up with this, and of course the next year all the other three, from Arctic Cat to Skidoo to Polaris, they came up with triples as a response. And this thing was focused as a trail sled. You know what I mean? You'd think that this would be a lake racer, but the truth is, I've talked to many people at shows and events that say, this was a decent trail sled, rocket fast, but it was a dual purpose machine, not just for that drag strip, fanatic. So thanks for looking at this video. I want to thank you, and we'll see you next time.
So if you like what you just saw there, be sure and check out Valdi's YouTube channel. Links in the description. If you like I said, if you like what you saw there, there's a whole bunch more waiting for you on his channel. Rob, reactions to what we just saw?
I like the way he likes to drive it.
Yes.
It's not just sitting in a garage, so up on a rack. He's out there using it. And for December, that's a lot of snow you guys got.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
They were one of my favorite customers, because anytime somebody went away with one of those machines, they would want to buy 5 gallons of oil to take with them.
Oh, I bet. Yes.
They were hard on oil.
Yeah. And there's some serious innovations with that too, the way they're getting the power to the clutch and that slide rack for the carburetors.
Yes. My 670 Skidoo is so hard on my wrist trying to hold the throttle all the time because there's so much tension on my 2 McCarbs.
Yeah.
That was a nice system they put on that thing.
Yeah, and like you said, a real light throttle pull on that. Yeah. And we do have comments coming in. Let's take a look here. Oh, here we go. We've got an answer on that 1000cc twin-cylinder Mach Z. That was in 2004. Yes, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Also, Mike Whiteside is talking about the TSS telescoping struts. We're very much ahead of their times, absolutely. And then, I didn't pop that on the screen, though. Sorry about that. I'm reading it on my interface, but not popping it on the screen.
I was ahead on a lot of things. First one's of oil injection.
Yeah.
When everybody said it wouldn't work, they came out and made it work.
Yeah, good point. And then Kevin Culhane says, great show. Love those triples. Cool deal. Well, yeah, we've come to that time of the podcast where it's time to wind it down. But Valdi, any final thoughts either on the VMAX or any of the other sleds we've talked about? Or?
Oh, shoot, I'm down again.
Yeah, it's locked up, but we can hear you, though.
Okay, well, listen, I'll tell the story. You can see that I just rip around the yard as fast as I can. I tell my grandkids, keep filming. One day I'm going to hit a tree, and that's going to be the best video that will get the most hits.
Yes, YouTube
sensational. That VMAX came out of the Chicago area, and they have special gas there. They were all gummed up. It was a real chore to get those 4 carburetors cleaned up. It sat in one of those ultrasonic cleaners for 3 days. So watch yourself. That fuel around Chicago area is bad on the carburetors.
Wow. Crazy.
Anyway, pleasure to be here tonight.
Oh, yeah, very happy to have you, Valdi. We appreciate it. And Rob, what were you going to say?
It looks like he enjoys those machines.
Yes, it's true. It's nice to see those drive-bys. Nice to see them being used and enjoyed. And absolutely.
I was mentioned earlier. Do you usually have that much snow in December?
Last year was a good snow year.
Nice. Oh, and we've got another comment that's come in. Our friend David at Alaska Railroad says, good show. Thank you for that. Appreciate you being here and being in the comments with some engagement. Oh, here we go. Some more stuff coming in. Mike Whiteside saying, awesome show tonight, guys. Very much appreciate that. And cool deal. So, yes, it is time to wind things down. And as always, we give the last word to AMSOIL. Any final? We'll just go around real quick with quick final thoughts. A quick final thought, Rob, before we close?
Great collection, and I enjoy people that like enjoying their machines. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. And Valdi, final thought?
Oh, happy to be here. I'll continue with these YouTube videos, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, I love having you on here. So we'd like to have you on here at least 1 or 2 or 3 more times before the season wraps up. Oh, and yeah, another comment coming in. Let's take a look. Our good friend Reese Fleury says, "Great show, guys. Thank you, and thank you for viewing. We very much appreciate that." And yeah, it's time to wrap it up. Last word goes to Amsoil. Thank you, everyone, for Valdi and to Rob and for the viewers. Thank you so much. You guys make this a wonderful experience, especially with all of the engagement and interaction. We love it.
Have a good night.
Have a good one, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Wrong thing. There we go. Here's Amsoil. It's all on the wrist. Hello, everyone. This is Rob and Mike. How you doing today, Rob?
I'm doing good. Mike, yourself?
Very well. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Now, today, we're going to be talking about Amsoil. And in a few moments, we're going to show you how you can get the deepest discounts, free shipping, and free gifts when you order your Amsoil products through us. But first, I'm going to ask Rob to give you a quick description of what Amsoil is and why you should consider using Amsoil products in your motorized vehicles.
Thanks, Mike. Amsoil is 100% synthetic oil. Everybody uses Amsoil for a different reason. Some people like the benefits that Amsoil is warranted for 25,000 miles or 1 year. The reason we can do that is because Amsoil doesn't oxidize. It doesn't form the usual carbons, gums, sludges like petroleum oils do. That's why we can keep it in the engines longer. Petroleum oils never do wear out. They oxidize themselves. That's why they have to be changed at 3,000 kilometers. And Amsoil likes the benefit that you only have to change the oil once a year. That saves some money. Some of the people like the benefit of Amsoil is it's a slipperier type lube. By having a slipperier type lube, it cuts down friction and drag. By less friction and drag, engines run 20 to 50 degrees cooler, better gas mileage. Now, Amsoil says 25% more protection than the industry requires is in the Amsoil bottles. My average customer gets about 10% increase in gas mileage. That's a big savings.
Yeah.
And by cutting down friction and drag, for every 10 degrees you cut down the friction and drag, doubles the life of the engine. So by having the engine run cooler, it makes it last longer. Some people like the benefit of the range of the Amsoil. Amsoil's flash point is 425 degrees, and it pours at 50 below zero. Wow. If you ever try petroleum oil when it's 10 below, it turns to honey. And in the summertime, petroleum oil thins out, and once it thins out, that's when it starts breaking down. So Amsoil's an all-season oil, can give you better gas mileage, longer engine life, less maintenance. It ends up being cheaper over a year's time running Amsoil than it is petroleum oils.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And Amsoil is available for pretty much any motorized vehicle, anything from lawn equipment, cars, trucks, boats, ATVs, motorcycles, snowmobiles.
Yep. And a lot of people phone me up and say, well, what's the benefit of our gear lube? Exactly what I told you about the engine oil. It pours in cold weather, it runs cooler, makes the equipment last longer. And they say, well, what's the benefit of the small engine? Same thing. Makes the engine run cooler, last longer, better performance. So it saves on all the applications that Amsoil has available.
Wonderful, wonderful. So yeah, let's talk now. Hopefully this has convinced people to think about maybe joining us in the Amsoil experience. Let's talk about some of the discounts and free shipping and how that all happens. I'm going to pop a graphic on the screen. And yeah, by all means, if you want to talk people through how this preferred customer program works.
Amsoil has a number of different programs. One of our main ones is a catalog customer, where somebody can order directly out of our catalog. If they order out of the catalog, they order $100 worth, Amsoil will ship it right to their house. But our best program is our preferred customer. For only $10 for 6 months, you become a preferred customer, you save 25% on all the product. You order $100 worth, they're going to give you free shipping. You don't have to order a whole case. You can mix and match. Say you want 4 bottles of small engine, 7 bottles of 5W30, and a couple of gear loops. You can mix and match. You can order 1 bottle at a time if you want. There's no minimums, no maximums. By being a preferred customer, you save over 25% on all the products you're going to buy. Amsoil sends you extra gifts, a $5 gift certificate on your birthday, $5 when you renew your account, and stuff like that. So it's a good way to save on some of the products you want to buy.
For sure. Yeah, it's an incredible value. And this is the deepest level of discount that anyone can get when ordering Amsoil. Is that correct?
It is.
Wonderful. So let's take people through the step-by-step experience of placing an Amsoil order. Then that would include signing up for the preferred customer preferred customer program, so they can receive those deepest levels of discount. So let's go to the website. This is what the website's going to look like. These are some screenshots. Once you go to amsoil.com, there's a link in the description, or you can just type that into a browser, amsoil.com. This is the page you land on. At the upper corner of the page there, you see how I've circled in red. That is the link to click, the Join Now link. That will take you to the preferred customer program page where you can take advantage of all of these discounts and free shipping and everything that we've just been talking about. This is what that page looks like. In the lower right, you're going to click Join Now. This will pop up. You select the duration you'd like, whether it's 6 months or 12 months, and click Add to Cart. Now, once this pop-up goes away, you'll be back on the main page. And the upper left, you'll see where I've got that red arrow. It says Shop. Now you can start shopping for products, and on your very first order, you're going to get these discounts and the free shipping as long as it's over $100. You'll get all of these benefits right away. So once you click Shop, it's going to take you to the product page. There's different types of oils, lubricants, so on and so forth. For the benefit of this exercise we're doing now, I'm just going to click motor oil. It shows different types of motor oil. Let's click gasoline. Now this takes us to an item. It's their synthetic motor oil. And you can see the item there, and there's choices for different viscosities. But take a look at the price. Let's take a closer look. Let's zoom in. But if you've joined the preferred customer program first, you're going to automatically get the deepest levels of discount. That's what we're looking at here. You're saving $3.80 on that quart of oil. Instead of paying $16.29, you're now paying $12.49 for that quart of oil. That is the deepest level of discount you can possibly get. And then you just add the quantity that you'd like. You select any other items that you're thinking about, add them to the cart. And once you click Add to Cart for the final time, you're going to see this come up at the top of the screen. It's going to show your items and your the total that you're at so far. Pardon me. And then you just click View Cart in the upper right, and that'll take you to your cart. Take a close look here at the upper right. That blue box shows that you're getting free shipping. You're eligible for free shipping on this order because it's over $100. That little yellow box shows that you've got the preferred customer membership on your order that gives you the deepest levels of discounts for the next 6 to 12 months. And then below that, you've got the items that have been selected. For the exercise here, I selected 9 quarts of the signature series, but that brings us up over $100 for the free shipping. We're saving $34.20. And if you're ready to finish, you click Checkout Now, and that takes you to this screen here. If you haven't signed up with an AMSOIL account at this point, just click in the lower right to create an account, create a new account. It's going to ask you for some basic information, name, and those types of things. Now, let's take a closer look. You'll see this gray shaded box. This is a very important box. This is going to ask you if someone has referred you to AMSOIL. And if so, please enter my name. My name is Mike LaPierre. It's spelled right there on the screen for the correct spelling. And also the referral number, 304-555-94. That's how you make sure that Rob and I get credit for this. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I have signed up for AMSOIL under Rob. So when you order using this referral number, Rob and I both benefit. So if you enjoy these podcasts that we're doing, this is a wonderful way to support the podcast, because when you order using this referral number, Rob and I both benefit. And the commissions I make go directly toward offsetting the cost of doing these podcasts. So I thank you in advance for that, for using my referral number. I very much appreciate it. And once you've done that, you just go into the next screen to enter your payment information, and you're done. Now, once you've placed your order that's over $100, and that order includes your AMSOIL preferred customer program, you are now eligible to get a free DVD from myself. Now, this is going to be either a muscle car DVD or a vintage snowmobile DVD. Use the email address on the screen, wkspodcasts@gmail.com. Send me an email. Let me know which DVD you would like me to send you, the muscle car or the vintage snowmobile DVD, and I'll get that right out to you. As you're typing in that email, in the subject line, be sure and type in capital letters "free DVD requests" so it stands out as I'm checking my email, and we'll get that right out to you. So I guess the last thing, Rob, that we wanted to talk about is if someone is considering AMSOIL as a business opportunity.
Yes. If anybody has a retail or a commercial account and they would like to buy directly from AMSOIL, just send Mike a line. He'll show you how to set up, and you can buy directly from AMSOIL. But if you are interested in starting your own part-time business, a part-time business that can grow into a full-time income, Mike and I will show you the AMSOIL marketing plan. AMSOIL has a large selection of products that cover almost every application. So it doesn't matter if you're into snowmobile, boating, or ATVing, or hot rods. We have an oil for every application. It's a fun type business that's I really enjoy doing. Where else can I go and have fun and make money doing it? And Mike and I are here to help you all the way along. If you need any help on how to promote or to find new accounts, we're here to help you.
For sure. So when you sign up under that number, this 304-555-94, you're getting Rob and I as a team. Now, Rob has been doing AMSOIL for 40 years. Can you believe that? 40 years. So he knows every aspect of this business, and he knows all of the ins and outs of the products. So he'll be able to help you with any kind of product questions or any kind of questions to show you the different business models that you can do with AMSOIL. And then the other thing that you get when you sign up under me is I've got a strong background in social media. So So if you need some coaching on how to generate AMSOIL leads using Facebook and YouTube, I'm happy to coach you with that when you sign up under Rob and I. You get both of us as a team to help you, to coach you, to support you, whatever you need to get you off and running with this business and having fun with it. Like Rob said, it's an enormous amount of fun. If you're like Rob and I and you enjoy going to any kind of boat shows, car shows, motorcycle shows, snowmobile shows, anything with a motor, you like going to those shows, those events, those races, this is a great way to turn that into a income opportunity for you.
Yes. And just by wearing my AMSOIL hat at one of these events, people come up and ask me about AMSOIL.
Wonderful.
People don't know where to buy it, and I'm there to help them, show them where they can buy the product.
Perfect. Well, cool. Well, this is great. Any final thoughts, Rob, before we wrap it up?
AMSOIL is a fun business. AMSOIL's been around since 1968. It was the first synthetic oil to be AI approved.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's very early in the game too, isn't it?
Yes.
For sure. Well, good. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for viewing. Hopefully, we've gotten you excited as we are about the AMSOIL products. We'd love it if you could join us either as someone who uses the AMSOIL products or to join the AMSOIL team as a business opportunity. And we thank you so much for viewing. Have a great day.
You have a good day.